In lesson 5.1, increase and decrease, we're going to talk about 7-point RP3, ratios and proportions, using proportional relationships to solve multi-step ratios and percent problems. How do we use percents to describe change? So specifically, we're going to look at percent change, which is an increase or decrease, is always the amount of change divided by the original amount. And we're going to have examples going on down here. Percent increase describes how much a quantity increases in comparison to the original amount. Percent decrease describes how much a quantity decreases in comparison to the original amount. And we use the original amount and the percent of change to determine what the new amount is going to be. Continuing on here, finding percent increase, we can see the formula here. The percentage of change is the amount of change divided by the original amount. So in example 1 here, Amber got a raise and her hourly wage increased from $8 to $9.50. What is the percent change? So we're going to highlight the 8, the $9.50, and we're looking for the percent increase. Take the amount of change. We always take the greater value and we subtract the lesser value. So $9.50 minus 8, and that gives us $1.50. We then take that amount of change, which is $1.50, and divide it by the original amount. The original amount was $8, and we come up with 0.1875, and then they round it following the rounding rules, and it comes up with about 19% is the increase that occurred. I'll highlight some information. The price of a pair of shoes increases from 52 to 64. What's the percent of increase to the nearest? Percent decrease is the same thing, except instead of adding, we're going to subtract. We're going to take away from. So we have David moved from a house that is 89 miles away from his workplace to a house that's 51 miles away. What is the percent decrease that it is taken? We take the greater value minus the lesser value. 89 minus 51 is 38. Put that into the amount of change over the original amount. 38 divided by 89, approximately 0.427. We multiply that by 100. Forgot to mention that up top. But if we multiply this by 100, whenever you have a decimal, if you multiply by 100, you're going to get a percent. And they rounded it off here, because this would have been 42.7%, and they rounded it to the nearest percent. So it's 43. I have another example here. The number of students in the chess club decreased from 18 to 12. What's the percentage of decrease? Round to the nearest percent. So you take the 18 minus 12 gives you 6. 6 divided by 18 gives you a number that using the percentage of change, you're going to be given an original amount, and a percent increases or decrease. You can use that to find out what the new amount is going to be. So we have an example here. The grizzly bear population in Yellowstone National Park in 1970 was about 270. Over the next 35 years, it increased by 115%. What was the population in 2005? So we go and we highlight our information. We've got 270, increased by about 115%, the increase. And what was the population? So the first step they did was they took 115% and then they divided that by 100, because we wanted to get this to a decimal. So that's 1.15. So that's where this comes in right here. Okay, 200 and multiplied it by 270. So the 115% increase was 311 bears. They rounded. You can't have half a bear. So then you take the original amount plus the amount of change. So the 270 was the original plus the 311, and they had 581 grizzly bears in 2000. So you have a couple of your turn problems here that you can work out. And we're down into our guided practice. A couple examples there. Let's see, so find each percent increase, round to the nearest percent. So I'll do a couple for you here. So from 20 to 30, so we're going to take 30 minus 20 equals 10. Then we're going to take 10, because that's our increase, divided by the original amount was 20. Okay, so that's going to equal 0.5 in decimal. Okay, so we had and we multiply that by 100, so we have a 50% increase right here. 50% increase. For the word problem, Nathan usually drinks 36 ounces of water a day. He read that he should drink 64 ounces per day. If he starts drinking 64 ounces, what is the percent increase? Round to the nearest percent. So I highlight 36 ounces, I have the 64, and then we're going to percent increase. So again we set it up where we're going to have we're going to take 64 minus 36. It's going to equal some number, and we'll let you solve that. And then we're going to take that number and we're going to divide that by our original amount, which is 36, and then you're going to get a new number, and then you multiply that by 100, and you're going to get your percent. Okay, so it's a series of steps over and over. Here they're doing percent decrease, so it's the same steps, except this time you're going to subtract. Okay, you have another problem there. And then you have the original amount and the percentage of change. So like here they're giving you, let's do this one, number 16, move it down. We have 48 cookies with a 25% decrease. So I'm going to take the 25%, I'm going to divide that by 100 to give me my decimal. So 25 divided by 100 equals 0.25. I take that number and I multiply it by 48, the original amount. So a quarter of that is 12. That equals 12. Now it's a decrease, so I'm going to take 48 minus 12, and that's going to end up equal 36. This all helps out for you, and if you got any questions, please let me know.